everybody. They were crashing. When I figured out that they were my enemies, they crashed the Alaska Airlines plane in January of 2000. That was right after I told Brent that maybe he ought to expose this case on the Los Angeles news media. The next day, the Alaska Airlines plane crashed. They started setting wildfires all over the country, probably to make it appear like the fires I put out at that mobile home in South Carolina were just random incidents. All of a sudden, everything was being contaminated all over the country. I knew it was them, and I knew they were trying to blame their crimes on somebody else. Anyways, September 11th happened. And I was numb. I still wanted to marry Brent, but I was really angry about September 11th. And it was a very interesting world response that we got to it. I was very encouraged to see that the world was rallying behind the United States. And I remembered that we got to win this war. I've been dealing with these creeps for a long time, so I knew they were bad. I said, we have got to win this war. That's what I was telling myself. And I realized that they had, they taped up my room so I could talk in my room and everybody, I knew the world was listening to me. I started telling the leaders of our country what they needed to do. I said, you don't have to, I used my genius ability to read people to help them out. I said, you don't have to worry about China. I could tell from the way the Chinese are operating that they had nothing to do with September 11th. I said, you don't have to worry about Russia. I said, Russia had nothing to do with it. I said, make friends with China and Russia. We need all the friends we can get. I don't know if they listened to me or not, but I wanted to help them. I said, we got to win this war. I've been dealing with these creeps for 3 years, and I knew they were bad. And finally, I was a little worried about Vladimir Putin. I didn't know what he looked like or anything. But I said, wait a minute. I said, tell that Russian president. I said, tell him that he needs to be careful for his life. I said, because I'm encouraging the United States to make friends with Russia, I'm afraid that they're going to hire some crazy American to go over there and assassinate him, and then they're going to, that way they can cause a war between the U.S. and Russia. They're going to try to break up our alliances. We must not allow this to happen. I think about the next day, or the next 2 days after that, a picture of Vladimir Putin. I never knew what he looked like. Showed up in my paper. And I thought, oh, I'm very good at reading faces. I thought, my, he is gorgeous. And I noticed that I was very impressed with the way he was responding to September 11th. Remember, he was one of the first world leaders to say this was horrifying. This was an abomination. I said, well, he feels about this just like I do. And when I saw his picture, he looked so manly and brave and heroic that I felt my heart drawn to him. And I was really surprised because I didn't think I could ever feel that way about anyone except Brent Spiner. In fact, he reminded me of Brent Spiner. I didn't know why he did. And then a new man came into my life. So the more I observed, I liked him. I liked him a lot. Within a week, I was imagining him making love to me. I didn't even know if he was married or single. And the rest is history. And I think I've spent enough time on this. I really need to get some other things done. All I have to say is they tried to destroy me with their blitzkrieg attack. They have bankrupted me. They've taken much of my health from me. And they've greatly handicapped me. But they haven't killed my spirit. They haven't killed my faith in God. And they haven't turned me into a mean, vindictive person. And despite all of the hatred which they've leashed against me, I still have forgiveness in my heart for them. I still long for peace. And I still think the greatest thing in this world is love. They tried to make me as small as they are, but they failed. Despite everything, despite the time that there were days that I didn't think I'd be alive the next day, the one thing that I wouldn't let them take from me was my courage and my faith in the power of love and the power of the God I serve. And I said, if they kill me, I'm going to go down in a blaze of glory. If that's the last thing I can do. And right now, I don't even know how my bills are going to be paid. I just know that the God who has protected me thus far can protect me tomorrow, and He can protect me next week, and next month, and next year. I prayed down an earthquake. There was an earthquake in Seattle that just happened to happen on Ash Wednesday. There was major damage, but nobody died. A really weird earthquake. It came from a fault deep down in the earth. I think that was another earthquake God sent down. And God has done many other things for me. My life has been like I've been a soldier on the front lines in a war. I have had to be a good multitasker. I've had to be cool under pressure. I've had to be able to think quick and feet even when I'm quick on my feet, even when I'm dizzy and I feel nauseated. I've had to learn to get used to being tired. And I've had to learn to get used to being stared at when I go out in public and having people follow me around like leeches and try to bump into me in the stores and in the malls and out on the road. I've had to learn to get used to feeling crowded and shoved and pushed. I've had to learn to have no privacy whatsoever in my life and be totally transparent and to get used to it. And to not mind, because maybe by doing so, I can save this world from a disaster. I've had to learn to look at the big picture and not focus on my problems. And by being obsessed with the needs of those around me and with the needs of the greater good and caring and loving people that need my help, people that are depending on me like Vladimir and Brent and my family, and being more concerned about their needs than my own, I found the strength and courage to be strong. It's the power of love. And that gives me the courage to not break down. You see, when you're in a war, you can't afford to have a nervous breakdown, or you'll lose this war. And we must not lose this war. That's why I've been watching movies like Das Boot. I think the Germans are so brave. I've loved war movies lately because I've been a soldier. I've been on the front lines. I've been wounded in battle. Mentally, emotionally, physically. And it's a miracle I'm still alive. And I've determined that no matter what they do to me, God helping me, I will not betray the God I serve, and I will not betray those who are on the side of righteousness, honor, and justice. And that's what keeps me going. That's the mentality that I've had to develop to survive. But just because I'm a strong person, and just because I can still laugh and keep my sense of humor, and just because I don't allow them to depress me, and I don't wallow in self-pity when I'm hit with 20 different things in one day, that doesn't mean they haven't done something to me. It just means that I refuse to be a victim, or to have a victim's mentality. It means that I have determined that instead of letting these obstacles destroy me, I'm going to let them make me. Instead of being drowned by a mountain, I'm going to climb to the top and shout to God for help. It means that instead of wasting my time in pity